did not fear the flame, they gave their dead to it, not to lose them, but to lift them. Ashes placed in clay, sealed with sigils, buried beneath cairns like seeds in the stone. They spoke to the world with fire and bone, and the silence after the pyres was never empty. Ashes into echoes, fire into form. They left no temples, only wind-shaped truths, etched into hills, carried by the breath. They moved with the seasons, fought with copper and oak. Mothers carved sons into amulets. Fathers taught the rivers to remember names. They sang in fields of barley, drank from horns in the moon silver, and whispered blessings as they lit the sky with farewell flames. Ashes into echoes, fire into form. They left no temples, only wind-shaped truths, etched into hills, carried by antlers, buried in iron. They moved with the seasons, fought with copper and oak. Mothers carved sons into amulets. Fathers taught the rivers to remember names. They sang in fields of barley, drank from horns in the moon silver, and whispered blessings as they lit the sky with farewell flames. Ashes into echoes, fire into form. They left no temples, only wind-shaped truths, etched into hills, carried by antlers, buried in iron. Held not just remains, but stories, war-eater names, motherhood, dreams that once danced around the embers. And though their gods wore no faces, the forests knew them, the stones obeyed the rain, remember. I still hear them when the mist touches the ground and the earth breathes smoke.
Time of kings, where the stones still speak and the eagle sings, came the tribes from distant shores, painted warriors, ancient lore, from Scythian blood and Gaelic cries, through Erin's hills to northern skies. They sail through storms and fate unknown to claim a land, to call their own. Raise the banner, sound the drum. From Tauriana we have come, through fire and sword, through sea and sky. sound. Raise the banner, sound the drum. From Dariana we have come. Through fire and sword, through sea and sky. We live, we fight, we do not die. We are the echoes, proud and free. We are the soul of old Scots creed. Hear the voice of Kenneth's reign. Unite the clans through blood and pain. The crown, the stone, the ancient vow still whispers from the heather now. We stood against the Roman tide. We watched their walls but did not hide. The eagle broke, the thistle stayed. Our roots grew deeper where they laid. With broadsword high and heart so wide, we faced the storm, we turned the tide. From ancient myth to modern, from ancient myth to modern, from ancient myth to modern flame. We stood against the Roman tide. We watched their walls but did not hide. The eagle broke, the thistle stayed. Our roots grew deeper where they lay. With broadsword high and heart so wide, we faced the storm, we turned the tide. From ancient myth to modern, from ancient myth to modern, from ancient myth to modern flame.
Across the cold rivers of the north, where forests breathe and thunder walks, 1,000 tribes once stood unchained, free, wild, sovereign under stars. But southward came the fire road man, his laurels shining like a blade. His tongue both sword and scripture, he spoke conquest in the name of order. From the Helvetes marched to Elysia's walls, he wrote his tale in blood and fame. The legions moved like storms of fate. Gaul burned, Gaul cried, Gaul fell, but not without fire. Raise your voice, songs of Gaul, let the iron skies recall. Your spirit never died in Rome. You are echoes in the storm. Vercingetorix wrote not to win, but to show that God still listens. A king in chains defied the sun, while Caesar etched his name in time. The druids whispered from of man, he lay soaked in red and flame. The wolves of the forest still howl at night, and they howl in your name. From the hell that teased march to Alesia's walls, he wrote his tale in blood and fame. The legions move like storms of fate, all burned, all cried, all fell, but not without fire. Raise your voice, songs of Gaul, let the iron skies recall your spirit never died in Rome. You are echoes in the storm. To Alesia's walls, he wrote his tale in blood and fame. Your spirit never died in Rome. You are echoes in the stone.
like seeing flame. They crossed the Rhine and whispered their names to the rivers. And all the oak trees listened. In Éire, the wolves stood still. In Anatolia, even the mountains learned their music. This is the march of the painted wind, from forest to fire, from mist to moon. They carried no empire, just memory, iron and voice, and the earth remembered them. They did not conquer, they arrived like a storm, dressed in bronze and breathe. With spiral tattoos and swords like singing flame, they crossed the Rhine and whispered their names to the rivers. In Gaul, the oak trees listened. In Éire, the wolves stood still. In Anatolia, even the mountains learned their music. This is the march of the painted wind, from forest to fire, from mist to moon. They carried no empire, just memory, iron and voice, and the earth remembered them. They felt nothing permanent, and yet they remained in stone circles and warrior graves. In harp strings and bronze trumpets, the druids spoke in riddles, but the stars understood. They rode south through valleys, west through ocean and wind, east toward forgotten gods, and left their breath in every language that followed. This is the march of the painted wind, from forest to fire, from mist to moon. They carried no empire, just memory, iron and voice, and the earth remembered them. In the isles, they became legend. In the plains, they became thunder. They did not die, they transformed like mist becoming storm, like one becoming him. In the plains, they became thunder. They did not die, they transformed like mist becoming storm, like one becoming him. In the isles, they became legend. In the plains, they became thunder. They did not die, they transformed like mist becoming storm, like one becoming him. In the isles, they became legend. In the plains, they became thunder. They did not die, they did not die. They transformed like mist becoming storm, like one becoming him. Their path is not maps, but in the wind, they still ride. This is the age of the spiral and the sword, where gods then still old shadows and warriors became myths. Before they died, they left no empire, but they left thunder in the veins of Europe. They did not build walls, they built presence. Hills stood like questions on the lips of the land. Each village, a heartbeat, each smith and priest of fire, their weapon for iron and wisdom. Their bards got eaten and tea in verse and wine. This is the age of the spiral and the sword, where gods now still off shadows and warriors became myths. Before they died, they left no empire, but they left thunder in the veins of Europe.
They crossed rivers like memories, traded soul for soul and painted horses in motion. Even their shields told stories, even the silence echoed. Swords and silence into salt. Their graves were ships, not of water, but of earth and iron. In the misted valleys of Hallstatt, the sky hung heavy with memory. Every burial was a poem, every helm a hymn. Voices beneath the bronze, whispers of the first Celts. Their legacy is not written, it's forged in salt mines, in chariots, in the silence of crowned bones. Voices beneath the bones, whispers of the first Celts. Their legacy is not written, it's forged in salt mines, in chariots, in the silence of crowned bones. They did not write, but their metal spoke. They melted the sky and poured it into spears. The elves watched in stillness as kings were laid in tombs, with wagons dodged gold, gold and the weight of the names pressed into eternity. Voices beneath the bronze, whispers of the first Celts. Their legacy is not written, it's forged in salt mines, in chariots, in the silence of crowned bones. Women wore the mountain in their necklaces. Warriors carried thunder in the patterns on their shields. They sang with firelight and buried their songs in the mouths of the dead. In their necklaces, warriors carried thunder in the patterns on their shields. They sang with firelight and buried their songs in the mouths of the dead. You can still hear them when stone breaks and the earth exhales truth.
statues. They knocked them down, and the dust remembered. Temples were stripped, the gold spoken for, and on the capital and the wild geese cried them not for mercy. And when Gaul touched the flame, even empire trembled. No marble stood without fear. They came with spirals on shields and thunder in their blood. Not to ask, but to take. They picked his menace, said, woe to the vanquished. He threw his sword upon the scale, and justice leaned into conquest. Rome would rise again, but never forget the scream that melted its silence. When Gaul touched the flame, even empire trembled. No marble stood without fear. They came with spirals on shields and thunder in their blood. Not to ask, but to take. And though the ashes cool, the name Brennus never did. Oh! They didn't bury bodies, they returned them to the sky. Fire spoke their names and smoke rose, like the breath of ancestors. Returning home, what was left was placed in clay, not as remains, but as a seed for what comes next. Trouble rift, chorus like ancient murmurs. Where the smoke rises, memory becomes flame. Ashes seal the sacred earth, not by sorrow, but by reverence. The earth is not an end, it's a door. Between the Danube and the Rhine, they built no pyramids, no tombs for kings, just fields of quiet stones, each guarding a fire that once had a name, a voice, a heartbeat. They sang not to grieve, but to guide. Where the smoke rises, memory becomes flame. Ashes seal the sacred earth, marked not by sorrow, but by reverence. The earth is not an end, it's a door. Kissed the clay before it vanished into the soil. Fathers held silence like it was gold. Even children understood that the soul travels light, wrapped in fire. Flame, ashes seal the sacred earth.